So, today is our lesson 12, distribution, and we're going to talk about rating system, film promotion, festivals and awards, film release, profits and losses, and top films of all time. Of course, we will discuss some other interesting points and information, but this is just the rough plan for the whole lesson. And my usual question is, so what do you remember about distribution stage? How much time does it take? And who is involved in this stage? Is this the shortest stage or the longest one? So what do you remember from film production cycle lesson, which was number 2? Just the beginning of our filmmaking journey. Up to 12 months. Okay. Any other suggestions? And so do you have any idea why this whole distribution stage can run only up to 12 months? So what happens after 12 months? Why maybe it's not really possible, or it doesn't make any sense to run the distribution after 12 months? Why is it so limited? Since you're the audience, mostly. And I guess you follow some film releases or you follow some film promotions in different cases and in different variations. So why cannot we distribute film or promote film after 1 year? That's right. First of all, it will be impossible to take part in different annual awards. That's right. Yeah, because different film festivals or some even Oscars, so it takes every year. And so you have to hurry up so that to make it to some film festivals or Oscar nominations, since then the train is gone. Okay, so usually, of course, it's tightly connected with different movie events, which films try to take part in. If, for example, it's really about festivals, because some films are festival films and some films are just films that are going to be released straight to the cinema theaters or some platforms, digital releases. So it depends. But of course, if it's not really a festival film, still it can be presented, it can have a premiere during some festival, but without any competition program. So it's still possible. But if anyway film takes part in some kind of festival or film events, so it's another plus to distribution, because it's a great event and it's a great chance to advertise the film. So that's the deal. Okay, who is involved in distribution? Who are these people from the whole filmmaking crew? Who are these people responsible? Who are going to make decisions about the strategy of distribution? Producers, of course. Yeah, well, the group of producers, and of course main producers or just producers, executive producers, sponsors. Well, they're still going to be producers. Okay. And who is responsible for distribution itself? Budget holders. Well, sponsors, investors. Yeah. So money people, because the whole idea of distribution phase is to get money back. So everything that was invested into the budget, so it has to be returned. And how do we call people who are responsible for the distribution itself? Well, there is a hint in the word distribution. There are special people who are professionals of creating the strategy and making deals with movie theaters or TV channels, broadcast networks. They are distributors. Distribution. They can be called, of course, like distribution companies if we're talking about some organizations or like companies. Yeah, but well, the people involved are distributors, promoters. Also, you can think about press people or mass media, journalists, so film critics, because they're going to be involved in creating special articles or advertising, and of course they are part of film festivals, since they're going to write the first reviews of films, and if reviews will be good, so then it's okay for film, it's a good advertising campaign. If critics write not so good reviews, then it's bad. Or maybe, so it can be like the opposite reaction to such reviews, and people will still go and see the film. So you never know. Okay, and we're going to start the whole distribution process with understanding actually what type of film we get in the end of our whole film production cycle, and which type of rating our film gets, so that to be able to distribute it to different venues and to have sort of like target audience. Because maybe we were aiming at the beginning to have one kind of rating for our film, but then something changed during the production, or maybe something changed even during the post-production, since you've learned that you can actually make a different film during the post-production stage, and so your rating of the film can change. So, and depending on what type of rating your film gets from the association, so then you can have more audience to be able to view the film officially at a movie theater, or you can have a restricted audience. So, what ratings of film do you know? What are these magic letters and abbreviations that are usually used to mark the film even during the trailers, so that to help navigate the audience who can watch this or that film? And actually, what is the main idea? No, it's not. It's not about IMDb or KinoPoisk in the Russian version. Rating system is about the age of people who can view or who cannot view the film. So how mature you can be, or you should be, to view the content. Yeah, but sometimes it can be confusing with the top films to watch. Okay, P13, almost there. But what's the main point about this whole rating system? 0 plus, 6 plus, it's more about Russian system. Yeah. Since you have American system, you have UK, European system, and in Russia we have our own system, but it's almost, in Russia we have a more detailed system, since we have 0 plus, 6 plus, like in American version is just one category. So what's this whole point of giving film rating, especially concerning children? Since there is a huge subtext behind this rating system, and money. Just think who can go to the movie theater, what type of audience, try to connect parents, grown-ups, and children. It's marketing, it's policy. Yeah, G, PG, R. Okay. So let's focus R. Well, 18 plus or sometimes 17 plus. Yeah, so with the Russian system we have 18. With the American one, so it's 17. So either 17 or 18. Anyway, this whole process of film rating system belongs to Motion Picture Association in the United States. So we're focusing on American system here. It's some kind of scheme that a film goes through so that to get this rating. So the idea is that you're like a film producer, you can skip film rating getting from Motion Picture Association, but then you can have some problems with your films released to movie theaters, because if your film doesn't have any rating, so then it is confusing for the audience which audience can be admitted to viewing this film. So, or some movie theaters can just reject taking your film so that to release it. And so that's an obstacle. Why some film producers or just some film productions, they can refuse going through this rating system? Because they're afraid, on the one hand, to lose the audience, in a way, especially fighting for like PG-13 and R, because they want, if they want to focus on some teenagers group, and for example they have too much violence in their films, or they have too much, I don't know, sex or some inappropriate language, so they can get like NC-17, which is like very closely connected already like to porn films. Of course, it's restricted films, and there is some audience interested in such films, but then there is this age border which they cannot cross, so they are losing the audience. And sometimes, so in order to get like PG-13, for example, rating, you will have to maybe cut out some scenes, or you will need to, I don't know, to re-record some phrases so that to have less abusive language or something like that. And in this case, of course, maybe your artistic style of the film will suffer a little bit. Anyway, that's the story about rating system, but all film producers and companies and studios, they understand that if they don't really want to get bothered about like a little bit younger audience, and they're fine with R rating, so like R, it will be like under 17, requires accompanying parent or an adult guardian. I don't really know how strict it is really in the United States, that they will not let you see the film if you're under 17 and you are not going to watch this film with some parent or adult guardian. So I think it's sometimes maybe in some film theaters it can be an open question. But with some really restricted films like adults only, so that's another genre. But it's not only about that these films are really connected to like porn films. It's even more about maybe violence or some language used in such films. So you never know. And another story is that sometimes, for example, film can get a little bit lower rating so that to help parents to take their children with them to see these films. Even if they may have some violence or maybe they can have some sexual scenes, but why not? Well, anyway, children will grow up and they will find out everything about life, so let's educate them a little bit earlier. It's always something about to negotiate between Motion Picture Association and film producers and even movie theaters. So it depends. Have you ever had any such interesting situations when you, for example, went to a film with your children, if you have any, or maybe like with your nephews or some really small children, and the film was not really appropriate to watch it with children and you didn't really feel okay? Or maybe when you were a child and you went to see a film which had some rating, but actually it was not supposed to be viewed by children of your age. So maybe you have some Russian examples, since Russian association doesn't really think about children, I should say. So they can put rating 6+ for films which are not really designed for children, but it's done so that parents can take their children to watch this film. Maybe because they cannot afford leaving children with nannies or, I don't know, grandparents. They want to have some kind of night out or day out. 12 plus, 12 plus, 12 plus I think is tolerable. I've had a few situations with 6+. I mean, when they give ratings like 6+ to this recently made Russian film, so you can see some bad language used, you can see some violent scenes, and you can see some really sexual scenes. I don't think that you're supposed to have this kind of stuff in 6+ films. Maybe, of course, your children don't really understand, but I mean, okay about some sex scenes, but violence and bad language. So that's what actually parents were talking about. They were not concerned about some sex being shown in the film, but like violence and bad language. And this is a little bit worrying, since with like 12+ or like 14+, you don't really experience, since like children are getting more mature a little bit early. But I mean, my big concern is about 6+, since they do it specifically so that to show these violent films, but to a younger audience, so that parents can go and watch these films. They're not really for children, but for parents, but who cannot afford, I don't know, living with their children with nannies and I don't know, grandparents or something. Yeah, well, anyway. So you need to remember that there are these 5 rating system that this or that film can fall into. So you have G for like general audience, all ages admitted, and so nothing that would offend parents for viewing by children. So nothing, everything is okay. PG is for parental guidance suggested, so some material can be not for children, but so it's sort of okay. PG-13, so parents strongly cautioned, so you have to assist your children to go and watch the film. So R is for restricted, under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian, and NC 17, so adults only. Yeah. And so if you cannot really see these letters somewhere on a film poster or maybe a trailer, so there is a color code. I don't know if you ever paid attention to it, but so usually you can see these banners when you're watching trailers. Usually they are green, but so they can be also red and yellow. So red is for restricted films. Yellow banner is used for some internet content, so you don't usually see yellow banner in film theaters. So here you have like only for age-appropriate internet users. So you can see this banner. And green one, so all audiences can view the film. Yeah. So as soon as we get our film rated according to the audience, so you can start thinking about how to finally distribute your film. But if you remember our earlier lessons, I've told you that you actually need to start planning distribution even during development stage or especially pre-production. So do you remember why it is important to start your distribution at such early stages and not really during the distribution stage? So why is it so important to have some advice from distributors so that to navigate you through distribution phase beforehand, before even you start shooting the film? Any ideas? To know what to wait. So, if now you go to your favorite film websites like IMDb, or I don't know, you can go to Russian version of IMDb Kinopoisk, and you go to the page and find out like what to expect, like releases of films. So you can actually go to the next year. Of course, like this year was quite a surprise. So, and we accept many delays of new films, of premieres. But if you go and see like how far you can go and predict like which films to see, so you can actually see in advance for 1 year and sometimes 1.5 years. Even if some films are in production now or in pre-production. And sometimes you already can see that some like famous films, which are like sequels or I don't know, maybe even trilogies. So you can know like sometimes the precise date of premiere, even if it will be somewhere in 2021 or 2022, you already can have a date. Of course, it can change, but usually it doesn't really change, since the whole scheme and the whole schedule of releases, like world releases, they have to be scheduled, and they have to be negotiated with like distribution companies all over the world, film festivals involved, and so on and so forth. So this all people, they have their own programs that they try to collaborate together, so that to have either like film festival windows, they call this windows, so that to have premiere of this or that film. They can have theater windows when it's a great time for film to be theatrically released, and some digital windows, so when they can have digital premieres and also earn some money. So it's a big schedule scheme, and it's like the same one as, for example, you try to book your holidays, and you need to know that this hotel will be available during, I don't know, New Year 2021, or maybe next summer, or maybe New Year 2022, or some air companies, so you would like to book some flights ahead. It's the same system. Maybe it's a little bit difficult to imagine that filmmaking is more about art and some creative process, and you cannot really schedule it. Well, you can, you should, and you have to. Of course, something can go a different way, but anyway, so there are some schedules. And if you want to have like a nice slot, so that to have a premiere during some film festivals, or have nice, or don't have any competitors during a theatrical release, so you need to be quick. And you need to collaborate with nice distributors or distribution companies and know about this stuff beforehand. So, have you ever thought about film distribution so far in advance? Have you ever paid attention to this actually available information that you can have, that you can see and you can get even on KinoPoisk or IMDb? So this information is available. You can even get the information about Avatar Part 2, 3, 4 dates releases. So if you're Avatar fan, so you can find this information too. So film distribution is about making a movie available for viewing by an audience, and not just make film and put it somewhere in a closet and be happy about it. So distribution is about making film available for the audience, and especially making film available for the target audience, for your audience, according to your rating system especially. And during film distribution, when it's done by a professional film distributor, so they will determine the marketing strategy for the film, the media by which a film is to be exhibited or made available for viewing, and they will set the release date and other matters. So it's about festival participation, it's about theatrical release, it's about some digital release, and so on and so forth. So you need to plan how your film will get to the audience. And the main person responsible for it is film distributor, distribution company, or it can be like a few film distributors. So it depends who you're going to work with, so that to distribute your film. Sometimes a film distributor can own a movie theater, or it can be a part of people who own movie theaters. They can be like sub-distributors. Anyway, so you need some people who are connected and who can help you to make your film available for the audience. And usually, the primary distributor receives credit in the film's credits. And they are also mentioned on film posters and some other marketing materials or distribution company. Since distribution is a very important process for film to get to the audience, and so that's why it's important to honor these people or distribution company as well. That's sort of like the official way. So when you contact your distributor or the distribution company and you start negotiating how to slot your film into the upcoming film festival program, so who will be your main competitors during some film festivals if you're interested to get into, I don't know, Cannes, Venice, Berlin, Toronto, Sundance, or something like that. Or if you're planning your release date, so you need to see which other films will be released during this upcoming date. And so if they're really great competitors to your film, so you need to see if you can compete with these films, or it's better to delay your release date. So it's all about different questions that your film distributor can help you with. So because he or she will know the details. That's the official way. And there is an unofficial way to get connections to maybe some a little bit private circle of people who can help you to distribute your film. So in Hollywood, there is such a society called Bel Air Circuit, or it is also known as Bel Air Digital Circuit. So it's an exclusive movie distribution service provided by the main Hollywood studios. The idea is that they gather somewhere in the area of Bel Air, which is located in Los Angeles, and they have private viewings in some luxury houses there. And so they make deals there so that to help films to distribute and to have some negotiations where to slot the films so that these films can get bigger box offices. Or maybe sometimes even get some awards during some film festivals. So it's a little bit private ceremony, which can happen during the pre-production stage, or it can really happen already during the post-production when film is ready and it's in its final version. And so this exclusive group can view the film and make the decision about the final product. Several of Hollywood's A-listers are known to be among this group. So famous actors like Tom Cruise, Ben Affleck, Sharon Stone, Sylvester Stallone, or film directors like Steven Spielberg, Woody Allen, David Lynch, Quentin Tarantino, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to show you how this private house, one of the most expensive houses in Los Angeles, can look like, so that you get a glimpse to this luxury private viewing. So this is one of the houses that can take part in these private screenings, and I guess as you can see, it's quite expensive and luxury house that you can buy or you can rent, so that to have this private parties and screenings where you can invite all these powerful people from film industry and to make deals. So how do you feel about this information, about a little bit other side of how to get your film distributed? Have you ever heard about such a little bit side strategies? Well, you're not too old or mature to get there. So it can happen not only in Los Angeles, it's happening all over the world in different countries, since if you're getting to some kind of private parties during maybe some film events or film festivals, so this is usually how it happens. The more powerful people you know, I guess, the better. So it's all about networking. Yeah, but just remember this Bel Air circuit or Bel Air digital circuit. So that's one way to distribute your film. And so film distribution is tightly connected with film promotion. Well, film promotion is a little bit different branch of advertising the whole film, since film promotion is a part of film distribution. It's when we try to organize different promotion campaigns or advertising campaigns, so that to start giving information to the audience about the upcoming film. And the whole pack of information of one film is called press junket or film junket. So it usually includes different press releases, advertising campaigns, merchandising, franchising, media, interviews, and so on and so forth. So it's all about information that can be given to the hungry audience. So it's very important to have any type of film junket. It can be just a trailer, a poster, some kind of video behind the scenes, maybe some social media accounts for the film. So anything that can help audience again to get the information about the new release. And so it's all about, again, investing some money into the promotion, and sometimes marketing budgets or distribution budgets, they can equal about half the production budget. So maybe you don't really think about film promotion to be that expensive, but it can really equal to the half of the budget. But usually it tends to be like 30% of the production budget. So you can imagine how expensive it can be if we're talking about some blockbusters. Their budget is about $350 million. So you can imagine that, for example, $100 million or $150 million can be invested into promotion. Then it has to be a very good and long promotion. So what do we need to know about different types of promotion? Because I guess you saw these different types of promotion, but you didn't really pay attention to it or didn't really focus. But they are different, and they usually start to be available to the audience at different stages. So what you can see in movie theaters, maybe before the release of the film itself, of course, but it's already some information that you can grab when you go to a movie theater, but you see a different film. So you can see trailers, and they are like a mainstay in a film promotion, since it's already some kind of video coming from the film itself. And usually you can see trailers before the main film that you came to watch at a movie theater. Then, of course, you can see posters somewhere in a movie theater. You can also see standees. They are freestanding paperboard life-size images of figures from the film. Usually it works for some Marvel stories, or maybe some kind of horror films, action films, some films for children, of course, cartoons as well, since it's a nice thing to have selfie with, or like to have photo with. So you can post it on your social networks accounts, with adding with some hashtags, and there can be some competitions even to win something, maybe free tickets to the film. And there can be also some bigger standees that are called cardboard 3D displays. Sometimes they can be interactive and even produce sound. So usually it's something first that you see about upcoming film. So alongside with trailers, you can see teasers. So teasers, they are usually they have the same length as trailers, like 2 minutes, 2 minutes and a half, 3 minutes. But teasers, they contain usually the whole scene from the movie, and it has to be like 2 minutes and a half or like 3 minutes long. And you can see only like this scene, but this scene can be very dramatic, and of course, so you can see main actors there. But usually you go with the trailer mostly, or you can have a trailer and a teaser. So just recently, like 1 day ago, there was published a trailer. I don't know if you follow the recent film news, so maybe you can help me. So which this famous upcoming film trailer was published, which already got millions of viewings, which we're again looking forward to. It's not about Christopher Nolan in a way, but Christopher Nolan was connected to this, how to say, to the films of this hero before. So, any ideas? What's this? Another film that we're looking forward to see. Okay, so then I'm going to show you what's the trailer about.
Your secret friend.
Underneath the bridge,
Who?
Topper sprung a leak, and the animals I've trapped
Haven't a clue.
all become my pet.
Let's play a game. Just me and you. Any of this mean anything to you?
You're becoming quite a celebrity. Why is he writing to you?
justice. Please do not lie. What is the price for your blind eye?
The hell are you supposed to be? I'm vengeance. Whoa! This guy's crazy!
You're part of this too.
How am I part of it?
You'll see.
So, 2021, currently in production. So it was mentioned, the new Batman. So if you haven't seen this trailer, so what are your first impressions, emotions? Old new Batman. Are you happy with Robert Pattinson playing Batman? Well, it's currently in production, so maybe it will be much better. Okay. He's a vampire. Well, we have a problem from Russia coming, since the guy, the actor who is dubbing Robert Pattinson is the same one who dubbed him in the Vampire Saga. And so people started to say that that's a huge mistake. I mean, you cannot have the same dubbing actor like for him, which was like 12 years ago. So don't even watch it in Russian version so far if they don't change the dubbing actor. I had a slightest idea that this new Batman reminds me of Joker. I mean, he looks like a Joker, and the whole like atmosphere of movie is really, really dark. So I'm expecting that it will be about sort of like dark Batman, probably. I mean, there is nothing like bright and sunny even in the trailer. So I guess we will see something like it was maybe with Spider-Man when he was turning into a bad Spider-Man, probably. Well, something like this so far. And as you can see, Robert Pattinson is getting more and more popular. So he has a part, quite an important one, in Tenet, which is going to be released quite soon. And then the new Batman. So Robert Pattinson is coming back in major films. So this is about trailers. I mean, you can watch different trailers. Some of them, they can really state that the film is being in production or maybe post-production. So this information can be mentioned. And then finally you can see the official trailer. So official trailer is the one that is made for the film after it's finished. And you can see that, yeah, you should see that it's official trailer, not just trailer, or maybe like the first trailer. Well, that's classy. I mean, they're trying to invent something new, so you should give them a credit. Yeah. So that's information from like promotion company that you can see in Tethers. Then we can have some promotion posted on television or mentioned somewhere on radio. So we can have TV commercials, and if you watch TV, I guess you paid attention that it's not really about this like 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes trailers. They are much more limited, up to 30 seconds or even sometimes 15 seconds, so shorter trailers for TV. Then they can have product placements. It's when they have this paid advertisement, insertions, some kind of like a film brand in sitcoms or some TV shows, and so on and so forth. Yeah. There can be also extended placement, when, for example, some full episodes of television talk shows or entertainment news programs or network news programs they devoted to some film promotion. So they can invite actors or film directors or producers so that to advertise the film and to talk about something else. And they can also broadcast behind the scenes documentaries or little videos, for example. So, and it's all about before film release or while film is being released, and sometimes it can happen like after. Yeah. So I'll show you some kind of such interview with one actor.
A Brad Pitt super fan.
Super fan.
Super fan.
Since the late 80s, early
Yeah,
90s?
yeah. We met. Do you remember where we met?
I remember Melissa Etheridge pool party where I think you were hitting on my girlfriend.
Was I hitting on your girlfriend, really?
I think so.
Oh.
I was flattered.
All right. I actually since then have dated another one of your girlfriends. We'll talk about that later.
After the show.
Okay. Congratulations on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Have y'all seen the movie, by the way?
Thank you.
Oh my God. I loved that movie. I loved that movie. And it was just like there were so many different genres and elements, even though it was set in a certain time period. It was, and your co-star.
He's pretty damn good.
Yes. Yeah. That no, not Leo, the dog. Did you see? I love Leo.
She's good too. She
Now,
was good too.
Explain, because they must have put something on your face for that to happen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Tom Cruise, my friend, will tie himself to a side of an airplane and it will take off and land. I put applesauce on my neck so a pit bull could give me love and affection. I don't know who's braver.
Yeah, it's a trained dog, but yeah.
So this is Brad Pitt advertising Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on Ellen show. So this is usually how it happens. So they can talk about some different stuff and then of course talk a little bit about film, mostly about maybe some funny moments, and it's quite a funny TV show. So in Russian variant we usually have another evening TV show where you can advertise films and so on and so forth. So as soon as you start seeing some actors being invited to TV shows and started talking about film, so that's television promotion. So pay attention to it. So then some kind of film is going to be released soon. So this can happen during some TV shows which are not really connected and dedicated to the whole film, and there can be some specific interviews just about the films. So I'll show you another.
And always finds his light. Like, no matter where.
That's like the worst, my least talent.
Working with Christopher Nolan was a dream. I haven't seen the film yet, so I got to make sure I made it first. Like if I made the cut, then it'll be that much more enjoyable.
I still sort of can't believe that I have gotten the chance to work with the Christopher Nolan.
I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't even told it was a movie. It was like, do you want to do a meeting with Chris Nolan?
Right.
Yeah, cool. I mean, there was no mention of it anywhere.
You chose to die instead of giving up your colleagues. That test you passed? Not everybody does. Welcome to the afterlife.
It was really hard, this shoot. And also, I was only doing basically a third of what John David was doing, and I felt like I had mono. And like
So dramatic.
and like, and then John David, like, literally every day, from as soon as his arrival on set until the end of the day, just buoyant the whole time, and it was a really necessary energy to have.
I completely agree with all of that. And to have you, I feel really emotional, but really, like, you're an extraordinary person, and it comes from this sort of, like, there's just this well of positivity and commitment to building, sort of like, I don't know, we're in it for the marathon, but every day you just kind of sprinted through it as well, and you gave it everything.
Working with Elizabeth, I mean, I was a fan before we started. There couldn't be any false moments in that time that we even rehearsed to starting to shoot it, because she's so present, she's so honest, and it brought a performance I wasn't.
So of course they usually say only compliments to film director, to the producers, production company, to each other. But well, this is what they are supposed to do during the distribution. So actors are still sort of like working on a film, but they're not really working on the film. They're working on a distribution campaign, promotion campaign, and they're supposed, they do not really have a choice not to take part in film promotion, because they're like the first faces to present the film. And I don't know if you enjoy watching some interviews like before the film, since here you will not hear any details or like analysis of the whole film. So they will mostly reveal some information about film shootings or their positive experience working on a film, working with the film director, so that to attract audience to film theaters. Of course, it's much more pleasant to advertise the film that you really enjoyed to work on, and then you don't really have to lie about your experience. So when it was not really a great experience, then you have to still be an actor and maybe fake your positive experience. So it's different, but anyway, so there is such an advertising available. So do you follow such interviews? Do you sometimes watch them? Do you actually pay attention to them? Or you just watch only trailers? Do you read any other magazines? Film magazines? Maybe you read some information on IMDb, since it's quite updated all the time. And you can watch some videos, interviews, and behind the scenes there as well. So if no, just, well, consider there is another option. So you can use it as well. The next point where you can still promote the film is, of course, internet. You can post different virtual relationship hyperlink marketing, so that you have advertising within some major search engines. You can, and usually when it's a big budget film, so there is a website for this film. So if you Google official website for Tenet film or Batman film, so you will find it. And now they started making available buying tickets to the film on the official websites. It somehow get connected to the movie theaters in the area where you are logged in, and so they're tracking your IP address. So it's quite okay. I mean, you just went to see the official website of the film, and you can have an information how you can buy tickets to the nearest film theater where you can go and see the film. So every big budget film has its own website. So if you didn't know about this, so there is some information that you can check if you have some favorite films. And you can also see, again, trailer, some information about films, some trivia facts, some other videos available, and there can be like online shop, but it's going to be about merchandising, so where you can buy some souvenirs with these films as well. Also, film distributors use internet so that to have screeners, it's the video links to films that they can share with film festivals or some sales agents, or they can send it to press, for example. Usually they post screeners on Vimeo or YouTube, but usually Vimeo, since it's a paid service and it's quite reliable. Also, they can use viral marketing. It's when they try to advertise on movie-oriented websites or and like video user-generated content websites. So something like connected to the film being advertised. And of course, they create some internet marketing campaigns on different social media. I don't know if you see some campaigns on Facebook or Instagram, but it's working. In print, so it's about newspapers, magazines, inserts in books as well. Now, of course, it's a little bit more complicated since we're going into digital era mostly, not printed one. There can be also cross-promotion of including like special printings, new cover jackets, or they can be comic special editions or special episodes. Yeah, but print, I guess it's becoming more digital as well. Then, of course, we can have merchandising. So it can be paid co-branding, like for example, Aragon and American Cooper 2 episodes, or co-advertising like Aston Martin and James Bond films, so some kind of product in a film. Or they can be some promotional giveaways, like branded drink cups, toys, food combinations, and so on. I think merchandising is the most fun part of film promotion, especially if it's connected with some films for children, since there can be even like food chains created specially for some toys. When you buy some food, then you get the toy, so it's quite viral and you cannot really stop your children from not asking you to buy something. Have you ever been involved with some film merchandising? Do you have any branded drink cups, t-shirts, toys? So, have you spent some money on some souvenirs? Since film can earn a lot of money on merchandising. So, any fans? Well, when you're a grown-up, I guess it's more about, well, like, as for me, it's more about maybe some t-shirts or like posters, but posters, it's a little bit different one. Cups, yeah. Well, if you're like some Marvel fan, then you can, I don't know, collect some toys. Oh, okay. Star Wars. I'm going to show you the video which has the top 10 films who earned like lots of money on merchandising, and I'll show you just top 3. So since you were speaking about Star Wars, so let's see.
Some parents may now be sick of Frozen fever bleeding their wallets dry. But since your parents bought you all that Little Mermaid and Lion King merchandise when you were young, though,
Well, forgive me for not leaping for joy.
chances are you'll have a hard time telling your child no, especially since a Frozen sequel was announced in March 2015. Number 2, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Brody, I'm working on something big.
Marvel has been part of our popular culture for years, inspiring plenty of merchandise.
I hear you're kind of attached.
It's handier than you might think.
With the Marvel Cinematic Universe launching these superheroes into another league of popularity, though, we've gotten several waves of new action figures courtesy of Hasbro and designer Dave Bonner. Besides giving us detailed action figures and bobbleheads, Marvel merchandise has exploded in recent years with t-shirts, backpacks, and of course, costumes.
But you're keeping the outfit, right? You know what? It's kind of growing on me.
The universe offers a wide variety of characters, making the marketing possibilities endless.
So is this how you normally look?
More or less.
It's a good look.
You're never too old to collect every piece of Marvel memorabilia, although you may not be rich enough.
I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
My old sword, Sting. Here, take it, take it. It's so light. Yes, yeah, made by the elves, you know.
The Ducks? We're the Ducks? Man, what brain did jerk came up with that name?
A Jose Canseco bat? Tell me, you didn't pay money for this.
Ooh, that's
Look who's finally ready to play.
Let's see if I remember how to do this.
With the exception of Dr. Strom, our entire staff certifies the product ready for human testing.
Number 1, the Star Wars franchise. Since studios didn't have the best grasp on creative movie marketing in 1977, 20th Century Fox actually sold the merchandise rights for Star Wars to George Lucas.
He's worth a lot to me.
Big mistake on their behalf, since Star Wars now holds the Guinness World Record for most successful film merchandising franchise. Star Wars just keeps enduring, with action figures and plastic lightsabers remaining hot ticket items.
What is it? Your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster.
Before The Phantom Menace even came out in 1999, it already made a killing in early toy sales. Oh, and you'd better believe we all added a BB-8 droid to our Christmas list in anticipation for The Force Awakens. Do you agree with our list?
You don't love me!
What movie made you spend a fortune in merchandise? For more entertaining top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to...
So, as you can see, actually, we didn't really mention Frozen, but Frozen became quite a hit, especially among children. So if you have anybody connected to children, especially girls, so maybe they spend a fortune on this cartoon as well. So you're still dreaming about R2-D2 ashtray. Well, you need to make your dreams come true. The next one is promotional tours and interviews. So as we have already seen some interviews from Tenet actors, they can start making these interviews while on set and sort of like behind the scenes interviews, so they can help to promote the film as well. So again, it's more about to connect audience, to encourage journalists to write some interviews, to write some advertising, and to create so-called marketing buzz to look forward to the film. Transformers should be, yeah. Also, another thing that distributors do is that they try to test all of this material mentioned above, so that to understand and maybe correct the promotional and distribution strategy. So it is called audience research, and sometimes this research can cost up to $1 million per film. So what do they do usually during this audience research? So they try to conduct different polls so that to see how many people will really go and see this particular film if there are other films going to be released during the same date. So what are the preferences? Then they can have test screenings of finished or nearly finished films, so that already have some kind of feedback from audience. So it can be different types of audience. They can invite target audience that they were supposed to have, and they can have just general, like a little bit mixed audience, so that to have response from these people as well. They can test of audience response to advertising materials, so that to see what are the mistakes and what are the advantages. They also track surveys about audience awareness about the film coming up. So they usually start like 6 weeks before premiere. And I don't know, do you get such kind of surveys? I've just noted recently that I got such a survey on Facebook asking me about if I'm planning to go and see Tenet. I got this survey so on Facebook. There was something on Instagram as well, and well, therein we connected. And also I got such a survey from a local movie theater. Well, so it's working. So they're trying to get the information. They can have also exit surveys, like questioning film goers about their like effectiveness of marketing. They can also test title of the film at an early stage, so how appealing it to the public. And they can also test concept in the development phase, so that again to gather some information how people will be engaged into this whole idea film production. I mean, of course, it happens with any kind of business, especially if you sell something. So you have this focus group, so that like people who you really like to test your product on, and the same thing happens with films. So you can really get into some test or focus groups, so that to see the film first and give your opinion. So it's a part again of distribution and like promotion campaigns. So it happens in film industry as well. Well, you need to connect. I mean, there are some, I guess, some advertisements on different websites, like forums, I guess, where you can take part. I don't know where exactly they publish this information. Yeah, but I know that there are some such screenings, sort of like these private screenings for focus groups in Moscow for sure. Because they need to test how bad and how good the film will be. Okay. So I'll just show you some promotion campaigns of different films. So we have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, when they had different types of posters, for example. So some posters with like different actors, so 1 actor, 2 actors, all actors combined together. Then you can see some promotion material around the city, so next to the movie theater. Then you can have banners, huge banners, so it can be again some kind of posters or some just scenes from the film. So it depends, but I mean, you can see that it costs money. So, and sometimes you can just go through the city and you can see that it's really huge advertising campaign dedicated to one film. So it's classy example, and it's usually the way it works. But there was one film which totally ruined the whole traditional distribution campaign that was elaborated during all these years. I'm talking about Deadpool. So last time, I guess, we discussed with Marat the opening credits, and you gave it as an example of quite creative opening credits. So maybe you remember the creative promotion campaign of Deadpool. Since the idea of promotion campaign is to give the information about the film, the true one, so that to navigate the audience about the film. I mean, at least the genre, the main conflict, like the plot, so that the audience know what to expect. With the Deadpool, they just try to confuse the audience. They try to make the best of it, and it worked. So, what did they do? First of all, when they started the whole promotion, nobody knew what the film was about. Nobody understood the genre. Nobody understood like what's this character about, and so it was very bold in a way. It was quite interesting, but yeah, Deadpool sells himself. So they created quite abusive emoji billboard. I mean, you had to decipher that it is Deadpool. Then they also had a campaign about Saint Valentine's Day. So they tried to attract this kind of audience, and especially girls who might think that it was some kind of like rom-com probably. So then they started marketing campaign on Tinder. There was like a profile for Deadpool on Tinder, and so it got very popular as well. So then there was a TV promotion again with Deadpool from like insane TV spots. Then they created 3 full hours of Deadpool ads, and so you can watch some of them on YouTube as well. And they created custom emoji keyboard. So they tried to, I guess, break all the invented rules so that to run quite a different distribution and promotion campaign. And it worked, since Deadpool, like all the people wanted to see this Deadpool because everyone was confused and everyone decided to find out what was this whole film about. So it worked. And I guess you enjoyed the film as well. So sometimes you can go the traditional way, and sometimes you can go non-traditional way. It depends really, of course, on the film that you're promoting. So if it's this kind of Deadpool film, so you can break the rules, since the whole film is about breaking the rules. So on the one hand, it's about film distribution and promotion before we can actually see the film. Super Bowl, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a collaboration of different events that you can connect together so that to promote the film. Well, you should use all the opportunities. And the next step, so that to actually decide about film premiere, if it goes to a film festival or if it goes to straight to a movie theater. So anyway, it's better to have some kind of film festival premiere. Doesn't matter if it's like in the competition or out of the competition or just opening film. It doesn't really matter. So film festivals. Which film festivals do you know? Which film festivals do you follow, maybe? What is so important about being invited or selected officially to film festival? Since we have different film festivals, but maybe there is one or two which we really regard as very important, and especially the films that are awarded during these film festivals. So it's already a huge advantage for such films to have a great theatrical release as well, no matter if it's really like film festival film. So do you follow any film festivals? Do you have any favorite film festivals? Venice, Cannes. Yeah. So we need film festivals so that actually to help audience to view the films, and especially if it's some kind of a premiere, like first night of a film. So it's about famous people or like powerful people in film industry coming to see the premiere, and then of course start promoting the film, since film critics will write their reviews, and then it will help, or maybe it will not really help, the film to get more promotion. So with film festivals it can be really tricky if you trust film critics in a way when they write positive reviews or negative reviews, since some people think that it's all about film critics can be bought. So it's all about, again, marketing strategy. So sometimes you don't really maybe believe film critics for their positive reviews. And anyway, tastes differ. But and Berlinale maybe, Berlin Film Festival. Okay, we will talk about the most famous, since they are the most famous. We have so-called Big Three. It's Cannes, Venice, and Berlin. And we have Big Five, which include Toronto and Sundance. So, as for Toronto International Film Festival, it is North America's most popular film festival in terms of the attendance. And Venice Film Festival is the oldest film festival in the world. But we usually think about maybe Cannes Film Festival first, since it's sort of the first one that starts usually. I mean, we also need to follow the time frame, and so Cannes Film Festival is sort of maybe like the first one popular film festival. But if we look on the timeline, so then Berlin is the first one, since we have it in February. Then we have in May Cannes, and Venice is in September. So what's the idea about film festival and then the whole schedule for distribution or film promotion? So you need first understand when your film is finished, so that to be able to submit the film for competition or out of competition for film festival. So usually they close 2 or 3 months before festival starts. So if you want, for example, submit your film, it doesn't matter if it's a feature one, documentary one, short film, for Berlin, which is in February, then like by the end of November or a little bit earlier, you need to submit your film. Sometimes film festivals can accept raw cut, and Cannes Film Festival can also accept raw cut or sort of like a director's card, but you can still have like time to submit final cut. Or you can, if for example your film was chosen even with raw cut, you can still screen raw cut of film, but it shouldn't be that really raw cut. But still it can be screened even at Cannes Film Festival, even during the competition program. But when of course you will release the film for theater, you will need to have the final version, the final cut, and it may be slightly different from the raw cut that was screened during Cannes Film Festival or Venice or Berlin. So it can happen. So therefore it can be a little bit relaxed if you feel that you're not really meeting the deadline and you don't have like fine cut for your film, but you still want to submit to film festival, so it's possible. And sometimes if, for example, you're an A-list director, like it happened with Quentin Tarantino and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it was the question of like 1 week before even film festival started. They didn't know if Quentin Tarantino like would be accepted to the competition program since he was still editing the film. But then he decided to submit it, and so it was included into the competition program, and it had premiere at Cannes Film Festival. So with A-list directors, so of course it can happen, and like for such big film festivals, it's of course an honor, since the higher the stars are, the bigger the film directors, the actors. I mean, you can imagine like Quentin Tarantino, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. So why not to wait for Tarantino to finish editing the film? So it doesn't matter if he's like really behind the deadline. So there can be some excuses made. Anyway. So what do we need to know about the most popular film festivals? So first of all, Cannes. So it is held in Cannes in France, and it was founded in 1946, but sometimes you can find information that actually the first Cannes Film Festival was, they tried to organize it in 1939 and 1940, but it didn't really happen because of the World War II. So they had to postpone it until 1946. But they had the poster for this first Cannes Film Festival that didn't really happen. So it is held annually, usually in May, but this year, so they decided not to have it because of the pandemic. And the most prestigious award is the Palme d'Or, or Golden Palm, for the best film. So that's the story. Do you know who got this award last year? Do you follow Cannes Film Festival? Parasite, yeah. So, well, Parasite got all the awards possible. I'll just show you a short video about how Once Upon a Time premiered at Cannes, the red carpet. and so on. So you usually have this red carpet and photo call for like maybe 5-10 minutes, and then you get inside the movie theater and the screening of the film starts. So this is how it happens for all the film premieres at Cannes. The next film festival is Venice. So Venice, as you already know, the oldest film festival, and it was founded in Venice, in Italy, in 1932. So you can imagine that Cannes Film Festival was founded like 14 years later. So if you're interested, so you can read the story why Cannes Film Festival was founded, since it was a little bit of rivalry between Venice and Cannes, since Venice was the only one like international film festival, and then some kind of misunderstanding started to happen between France and Italy. It was the beginning already of the First World War, but actually it was like some political questions and Nazis coming to Italy, so therefore French decided to establish their own international film festival. So that's why they started Cannes Film Festival. Usually the festival is held in late August or early September on the island of the Lido in the Venice Lagoon. And Golden Lion is the main award for the best film as well. So, and as the Palme d'Or or Golden Palm, so as the Golden Lion is received by a film director, not a film producer, as with the Oscar. So just remember this one. Do you remember Venice Film Festival last year? Who got this Golden Lion? Which film was the best one? Noah? Any ideas? So Mara doesn't remember. No? Okay. Then I will show you. Then I will show you another sort of promotional or distribution campaign that is also happening during film festivals. It's press conference. So as soon as film is shown during film festivals, so the next morning, you have this press conference call when film director and actors, they answer the journalists' questions. So I'll show you the press conference of the film which won the Golden Lion.
Buongiorno, siamo qua per la conferenza stampa di uno dei nostri film in concorso. Il film è Joker e vi presento prima di cominciare i nostri ospiti al tavolo. A partire dalla destra in fondo la produttrice Emma Tillinger-Koskov. Most obvious film that you do, and instead it seems like an origin story of Todd Phillips as well, besides being an origin story of the Joker. Can you talk a little bit about it? It's New York, it's the 70s, all your passion. It's a return to some strong passions of your.
Yeah, for sure. You've known me for 25 years from New York. So yeah, but I never really see the movie as that big of a departure for me personally. It's different tonally than a lot of the films I've done before, but ultimately to me it's kind of all storytelling. It's all a beginning, middle, and an end. But I was definitely influenced by the movies that I grew up on, kind of these great character studies of the 70s, and kept thinking like, well, why can't you do genre film in the comic book world like that and really do a deep dive on a character.
And so on. So usually these press conferences, they run for 1 hour, but this one is actually 35 minutes, so you can find more such press conferences for every film festival. So you can find press conferences for Cannes, for Venice, Berlin, and so on. So the film was Joker, so Todd Phillips got the Golden Lion since he is a film director. Do you know why this woman made a reference for Todd Phillips about New York? So maybe you remember the lesson from film direction and the film directors who went to a film school. So maybe you remember this famous film school from New York where Todd Phillips studied. That's a difficult Tisch. Yeah, so New York University and Tisch School of Arts. So that's where Todd Phillips studied, and so the whole setting is in New York. Sort of, yeah. So anyway, usually during these press conferences, of course, since the film was shown, they can talk about the whole structure of the film, about characters, their dilemmas, about how they created the film, and so on and so forth. So actually, these press conferences are quite informative, and that's an extra information that you can get. And if you're really following, like in real time, film festivals, so usually they upload, they run live sessions of press conferences. So of course, if you cannot really attend this film festival, so you can still be like really connected to the whole film festival program and at least watch press conferences if you can't really watch the whole film. So that's a nice resource for interesting information about the film. The next film festival is Berlin, and it was a little bit luckier this year since this film festival was held at the end of February, just before we got to the apocalypse. It is held in Berlin, in Germany, and it was founded in 1951. So we can imagine that Venice Film Festival was running for 20 years already, so Cannes Film Festival for about 6. So, and then we got Berlin International Film Festival. So the highest prize is the Golden Bear, and it is awarded for the best film as well, which goes to the film director. So, do you have any information which film won this year at Berlin Film Festival? And I need to mention that starting from this year, this festival became quite different one, since film director changed, director of festival program changed, and it became quite revolutionary for this film festival, since they really started to invite like quite different films, like even experimental ones. And unfortunately, of course, since because we had the pandemic, so we couldn't see these films that were awarded during Berlin Film Festival. Usually we can start watching this film like 3-4 months after the film festival, after its premiere, but it didn't really happen. And hopefully so we can start watching these films maybe in autumn. So I'll show you then the award ceremony, the highlights.
Possibilities. Never, rarely, sometimes, always.
Oh, that's not this
I'd
one.
like to thank Carlo and Marietta for inviting me. It's my first time at the Berlinale, and I'm so in awe of all of the members of this select.
That's the Silver Bear, which went to the film Never, Ever, Seldom, Rarely, something like this.
The selection committee, the audiences, choices in our country, in protecting
Film goes to Mohammed Rasulov.
our country, in protecting the lives and rights of all people with uteruses. Thank you for your service.
The Golden Bear for Best Film goes to Mohammed Rasulov.
Thank you so much. Obviously, I'm very, very overwhelmed and happy about this award, and at the same time, I'm very sad because this is for a filmmaker who couldn't be here tonight, and I think I can say on behalf of everybody on the team that this is for him.
I would like to thank our amazing cast and crew who put their lives in danger to be on this film. Please stand up if you can. Please stand up.
I don't know if you heard the story of this Iranian film director. The best film is There Is No Evil from Iran. And so the film director couldn't attend the ceremony since he's in trouble in Iran. Yeah, so this is what's been happening with Iranian film directors so far. So I guess maybe you heard this same story during the Oscar this year, previous year. So anyway, so the film is There Is No Evil. So pay attention and maybe you will be interested in watching this film since it's won the best film. And then when the film is premiered during some film festival, afterwards the film is ready for theatrical release, so that finally start getting to the general audience, to the general public, and it's the responsibility of film distributors so that to set the release date. And if we speak about the theatrical release, so why it is so important, because still we need to get money back, we need to have a big box office so that to return the money. And usually, so the distributor gets 50% of the cost of film ticket, and the rest goes to the film production, to the studio which made the film. So if we speak about like how different films find their way to general audience, so we need to remember that we have different number of theaters that we can show our film at. We also have price for tickets, and this price for tickets, it can be different. I mean, it depends on the on days, if it's weekdays, if it's weekend days, if it's day or night, and so on and so forth. So it's a big combination, and usually if it's of course some kind of big budget film, or if it's a film with like strong distribution campaign, so you can see that this film can have quite sort of tight schedule with like a few screenings during the day, especially during the hours which are the most profitable. So I guess even now if you go on some film theaters websites, and you will see some films, they have more screenings during the day and others films don't. So sometimes you're quite happy to see that your film that you want to watch has this like different options for screenings. But sometimes if you want to watch a film and you see that this film has like 2 options for screening, and one is like very early in the morning and the next one is like very late at night, then something is wrong. So it depends on the schedule of all these films being screened and how much money was invested so that to have this particular schedule for this or that film. So, and how much money film production left for film distribution, for marketing. So sometimes it can be very disappointing that your film that you want to watch doesn't have really nice hours for screening, for example. So, but I do not really expect that, for example, upcoming film Tenet will not have great schedule for screening. Of course, it will have like a few if few screenings a day and at most comfortable hours, since it's like the most expected film nowadays, and other films will not really try to compete with this film to hit the box office. Yeah. So, and according to the box office, so we can have highest grossing films and we can have sort of like box office bombs. So, or flops, the films which didn't really earn enough money. So, I guess as for the highest grossing films, so do you remember which films were the highest grossing ones? I guess we talked about them during almost all our lessons. So, do you remember? Gone with the Wind. It's adjusted to the inflation. The highest grossing film. And if it's not adjusted to the inflation, so which film earned lots of money? Of course, it's Marvel. It's our favorite Avengers, Endgame. The second place goes to Avatar, then Titanic, then Star Wars, Avengers, Jurassic World, and so on and so forth. So this is the highest grossing films. And as for the list with sort of this box office bombs, flops, so they say that they cannot really identify like the top, so they just make the lists in alphabetical order, since they don't know for sure how much money the film lost because of a little bit secret accounting, which was not really revealed. So here you can see just some examples. It's not like the rating system, is just the alphabetical order. For example, like the 14th Warrior. So the budget was around $160 million. So worldwide gross was $61 million. So that's not so good. Sometimes you can see that maybe the film sort of returned the budget, but they still say that they cannot really say that the film at least returned the budget, since the information about the real budget of the film is not revealed. Yeah, so therefore you can also have like 47 Ronin, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. I don't know if you watch. Oh, actually, the film Alexander is among these films. So it had the budget of 155 millions, worldwide gross 167 millions, but still it was a box office bomb. And while we can judge a film by the amount of money it has earned during its theatrical release, and then during the digital release, and then total summed up. We have some other rating systems which maybe not really reflect the amount of money that the film earned, but they reflect something different. So, what kind of rating system do you usually trust? And by rating system now, I mean like top films of all time. So, which platforms do you use? And so, do you follow? And these top lists that you try to watch? So, do you have any preferences? And few reviews. Okay. By whom? Should these reviewers be like film critics, journalists, or maybe some film magazines? Or your filmmakers' friends? So we can have in focus group. Okay. So you can also follow IMDb 250 top films like of all time, and here you can have a star rating system, but it's not 5 stars, it's 10 stars, and you can read the reviews which are published by like different people and some professional film critics and just some website users. 10 stars. I think it's the same. So according to IMDb, so The Shawshank Redemption is the best film of all the time, then The Godfather Part 1, then Part 2, The Dark Knight, 12 Angry Men, and so on and so forth. So I guess you're familiar with this list. Another website that you can consider looking at is Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if you're familiar with this one, if you use this system, since here you can find the reviews by professional film critics or professional like film journalists, and there are their names, so you can read these reviews, and the reviews of users of these websites who are registered ones, and they also can write the reviews, but you also see when the film is rated, so what is the percentage of film critics like the professional ones and just the general public. And so according to Rotten Tomatoes, so best movies of all time, like tomato meter score, so it's Black Panther, Avengers, Us. No, it's not serious. It's movie. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Toy Story 4, The Wizard of Oz, and so on and so forth. So it's quite different from IMDb 250. So since different people, I guess, wrote the reviews and watched the films. But actually, unlike film industry people, they consider Rotten Tomatoes, and they always follow this so-called tomato meter, so that to see what's going on. Another source that you can trust is famous British film magazine, quite an old one, which is called Sight and Sound. So they also base their rating on reviews by film critics, professionals, and they have polls like once in 10 years. So last time it was in 2012, so this is the rating from 2012. So number 1 goes to Vertigo, and so here you have 191 mentions, so it means that 191 film critics wrote positive reviews for this film, and therefore it got the first place. So then Citizen Kane, Tokyo Story, but this is like top films of all times, and you can see that these films are quite oldie and classy, and so I guess it's more connected to IMDb list rather than Rotten Tomatoes. But anyway, also this film magazine has polls for like best film directors of all times, and it's interesting that they ask film critics to have their own poll, and they also ask film directors, so to find out who they think is the best film director of all the time. And the last time they held this poll was in 2002, and it's interesting that the first place gone to Orson Welles, and from critics and from film directors. Then of course they have a little bit different ideas, but anyway, so you can still find Alfred Hitchcock, Fellini, Akira Kurosawa, Francis Ford Coppola, so a little bit the same. So how do you feel about Orson Welles being the top film director? Do you know Orson Welles? Well, you need to watch Citizen Kane. So watch Citizen Kane. And we have one more rating that is not really official, but still, it's again about Oscar. So sometimes if we want to identify the best film, we look to how many Oscars this film got, or like how many nominations. So do you have any idea which film got the biggest amount of Oscars during one ceremony? Who holds the record? Well, no. Avatar, no. Avatar can have nominations, but I mean, acting, no. Script, I don't think so. They like production design, visual effects, sound, maybe editing. It's more technical part. So, most awards won by a single film. 3 films won 11 Academy Awards. Ben-Hur, Titanic, and The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. So, you were right about Titanic. As for nominations, so 3 films have received 14 nominations. All About Eve, Titanic, and La La Land. And the largest sweep, winning awards in every nomination, so that was The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. If you didn't know about this, so watch, I think it was the ceremony of 2004 or 5? I don't remember. So that was quite an epic ceremony when The Lord of the Rings got all the Oscars and Peter Jackson was super happy. So, or you can just find this video on YouTube somewhere with all this crew and film director and producers. They were very happy, and that became like a new record for Oscar. So, anyway, maybe. So if you're not a fan of Lord of the Rings, so maybe, yeah. So anyway, film can be remembered by the amount of money it won, or by the number of awards, or some maybe independent polls. So every time it's different, but I guess it's up to you to decide what is the most important about film, who is the most important in film and the whole film production cycle. I guess it's quite complicated question. If you have answers to this question, so you can type them here. But I guess the whole journey that we went through during the whole film production cycle in different professions, so I guess you can see that filmmaking, especially feature filmmaking, big budgets filmmaking, is a very long process, complicated process with a lot of people being involved. And it's really hard to judge filmmakers according just to one criteria, for example. So tastes differ, audiences are different, but if you can find some films that you really enjoy and watch them, if you can find your favorite film directors and watch their films, so that's really nice. But don't forget to look a little bit on the other side of filmmaking, just behind the scenes, and give credit to people who spent hours, weeks, and months, and they are unseen during this film production process. So it's really great, exciting journey, and just don't connect the whole film production only to the name of film director or film producer or actors, cinematographers. So it's a huge collaboration of all the people involved, and I hope that you will remember more professions from this filmmaking process, and so you will remember the different film stages of film production. And next time, so when you watch a film, you will be more attentive to the final credits especially, and you will not go home just right after you see the beginning of final credits, since like watching the final credits, it's sort of like saying thank you to the whole film crew who made this film for you, so that you spend a nice evening at a film theater. So that's my advice to you when you finally go to a film theater, if you plan. So do you plan to go to a film theater in upcoming future? Okay. So do you have Tenet? Of course. I advertised it as much as possible. And Banksy. Yeah. Nice documentary. So guys, our lesson is finally completed. And it's not only the lesson which is completed, it's also the whole course finally completed. And so Marat, if you haven't seen Orson Welles' Citizen Kane, so this frame, the end is from the Citizen Kane. So I guess when you watch the film, so you can sort of relate to this the end screenshot. So do you have any questions to me about our lesson dedicated to distribution, or some information during the whole course? Since I guess at this point I will have to say goodbye to you, but since so at this point we are finishing, but we are finishing at this point, and you can still always go and visit the website of my Kino Room, so that to have more information about filmmaking and some films that I would recommend you to watch, and so on and so forth. Well, I hope that you learned something new. Well, thank you for being my students. Yeah. And also yeah, so you can still follow the pages on Instagram, since I will finally start posting some interesting information, since I will have more time to do it. Yeah, so I guess I will say goodbye for now, and I hope that you got happier and more intelligent about filmmaking. So thank you for being during this whole course with me.